Welcome back to working on the top deck for the boat to get ready to go down the river to Wilmington. So yeah, lost a lot of footage, still learning this camera system, but we got some time today and we're going to continue work on the deck, hopefully get it completely mounted to the boat. We got the piano hinge for the main hatch here for the main part, and we'll see some of the issues that I had getting this set up and how I decided to fix that. Alright, so let's just start right off with opening up the forward part of the top deck. Now last time we had on the video, the deck was 4 foot by 8 foot. It is now 4 foot by 7 foot. I had 1 foot of overhang off the bow of the boat. I don't think it was going to really mess with the performance of the boat, but what I found was there was a structural issue with that foot of overhang off the deck of that boat. It was just a great big lever, so if I put any weight out on the forward part of that deck, the entire top deck tried to come off the boat. That's not what we're looking for. It's dangerous. I know I said, we're not going to walk on it, we're not going to fish on it, but you got to get on all. You've got to get on and off the boat. At some point, I'm sure I'm going to sit on the bow of the boat, tie my shoes or do whatever. So we cut it back by foot. I worked on putting the tent up on it. It works pretty good. We're going to go over that at some point. So let's open up this top hatch and look what I got. Kind of go over what I did. So we'll let it sit right there. Okay, so starting off, we've got this right here. So what is this? This is a piece of 1/4 inch aluminum angle iron. It is fit so that the bow of the boat rests right up against here. So let's say I come in and take a tree strike or something. This is going to hit, this aluminum should absorb that impact into the boat and not necessarily break the deck completely off. It also gives me a little more structure across the forward part of that deck. We originally put this on there when the deck was overlapping quite a bit, trying to give it some support, and I quickly realized that it's not a bad idea just to keep that incorporated into the build. Right here, this is part of a lock hasp, and what I've done is run my anchor line through it, and I'll show you an undershot of that, how the anchor hangs off of this. I can still control it from the back of the boat. From my seat I can drop anchor and pull it up, and basically this is acting as a pulley. And that's about it. I actually had a pulley, but from previous experience the rope liked to jump out of the pulley and it would get bound up and just wouldn't work that well. This is working great. Just from tests I've done here on the thing, I can drop and pull it up. I don't see no trouble with friction or anything like that. Runs smooth, don't get bound up. Pretty solid anchor point. I'm good with it. Okay, what's the next biggest thing that we see is this device right here. It looks like a reese hitch on the bow of my boat. That's basically what it is, and that's going to come into play when we start putting up the tent. So on old sailing boats, how they had the pole that come out of the bow of the boat to support the mast. We'll have a pole that come out of the bow of my boat to support a tent pole. This is the receiver for that. It takes it'll take a 2x2 right in there like that and hold it out so we can support the tent post on the bow of the boat. We'll go over the tent probably in another video, get back on the bow. So what do we have to work on today? I need to get the bow light mounted and get that part figured out. I got the anchor done. We got to get the bow light done. Then I can mount the hinge and attach the back deck to the foredeck. And after that, I feel like I'm ready to go do some water tests, see how she does handle. So let's look at what we got going on with the bow light. So originally the bow light sat right here. We had it mounted here, had a piece of PVC that ran up inside of this channel that harbored the wires, kept them safe. But with that deck now down, all this area is covered up and the bow lights can't sit there anymore. So we made out an extension to plug in the bow light. So now my plan is we're going to look and see, we drill a hole all the way through the foredeck down in this area so I can run these wires back up and attach them to the bow light and get all that mounted to the deck. So one of the things I'm going to do today, so then I can go ahead and attach down that foredeck and be done with it. So attaching the foredeck to the boat, let's take a look at that too. Here we see this device. It's bolted to the seat of the boat. Underneath we got a board that runs up and down. We got a board that runs across, so essentially build an I-beam. This board is screwed down multiple places all over. You see big screws on the outside here to protect lateral movement. There's some brads in. There's all kinds of stuff just to mount this to this and then mount this to that. So then when the deck lays back down, this board fits in this area here, and I screw the deck to this top 1x4. Mounts the deck to the boat. This will be the main anchor point. If I see it necessary, I can still screw through the bow of the boat, through the forward part of the foredeck, into the forward part of the original Jon Boat here. I'd rather not, but that is always a possibility. So let's go get some tools and drill that pathway for the electrical wires for that bow light. So before we start drilling on the front of the boat, because there is a possibility of going through the boat, we want to make sure the deck is completely in place where it wants to be. We're measuring back here, and what I'm looking at is the overhang off of each side. We're equal. We look pretty square to the boat at this point. Right here across the seam of the boat, we're at level. We're pretty even all the way across. Still got to do some finish work on this deck. Like I said, we still got a lot. Get some sandpaper and make all this smooth. So that's where we want it. And also we're looking at, do we have contact down the length of the bow right here? This is the angle iron up against the bow of the boat. There's my little anchor device. We got good contact here. We're even all the way down. So let's mark that hole to drill the bow light through, see where it lands. We've got this plank attached to the boat for the bow light to sit on nice and firm. We have a midpoint marked right here. Try to get the bow light nice to the middle. So right about here is where the light's going to sit. So we got the light where we want it. We'll take our crayon here, mark it out, flip it over. We'll see where the wires sit. So we need the hole to be right about there. We'll drill a pilot hole through. Alrighty, we went through the aluminum on that pass. So let's tip the deck up and see where we're at. And we are going to end up drilling through the bow of the boat a little bit. It's right about where the light originally sat. I don't have a problem with that right now. So let's continue to make this hole bigger to accommodate those wires. So we're through. We got a 1/2 inch hole through the boat there. I was gonna see if the PVC pipe will fit through there. It don't. That'll be all right. So let's drop these through. Let's crank it up, see what we look like. Oh yeah, they went right in. So it's a good fit. We get the bow light screwed into place. So we got the wires pulled through. We can get to it to attach the wires, and then we'll drop that deck down to get everything screwed in. Alright, wires are attached. So let's see if the bow light lights up. Well, we have a light. So let's get this wiring tucked back in and get this deck put on. We'll get the foredeck screwed down to the bow of the boat. So we got some new guidelines. Where that is underneath. They give me a little reference point. Alright, so now the foredeck is attached to the boat. We're going to attach the rest of the deck to the foredeck with the piano hinge. So if you remember from the first video where we framed out the deck, there are 1x4s underneath this area right here, just enough space for me to cut it. The idea was that I knew I was going to be putting screws through here to support this piano hinge. So we're to that point now. We got the piano hinge cut down to size. We got the deck squared up where we want it. So let's start tapping her in. Well, my sleeping deck is officially attached to the boat. Let's open it up and see how it works. pretty nice. I'm going to have to take some of the gunnel off up in here. I'm pressing in on that. So let's get a little saw and trim that up. Try it again. Oh, that's much nicer. Feels good and solid. So let's get this deck raised up, trim off all them screws, make it safe. So that's going to be about it for the second video on putting the deck on the boat. We got a lot of little issues worked out off camera, a lot of boring stuff that it took me 3 days of trying to figure out just this bow section. Guys, it's going to be different for every boat. I wish there was a one-all be-all answer, but depending on your needs and your availability of supplies and what you're capable of doing, it's going to be different. If I had a ton of money to put on this boat and I knew how to, I'd go out and buy me a welder, do every bit of it in aluminum. Welded, make it beautiful, make it strong, make it last forever. But that's not where I'm at. So plywood, screws and rivets and bits and pieces, and that's part of the experience that I think I'm going to have in this journey I'm doing, in this trip. I really wanted to get the boat out on the water today. It is beautiful out here right now in North Carolina. It's in the high 60s. The leaves are just starting to change. We got a great breeze, bright sunny day, blue skies, absolutely gorgeous. No matter how much I want to believe it is, the boat is not water ready yet. I still got some stuff I've got to do. Parts of the trailer have been disassembled. Part of the motor still disassembled. Future video, I'm working on exhaust on the motor, trying to push that noise out further away from me, since I got to listen to a motor for the next, for about 5 days, trying to push that noise out a little bit. So that's mocked up on there right now. I need to get all that taken off. The carburetor needs to be cleaned. I still got to get the foredeck, the floor mounted in the bow of the boat. It's still not done yet, but I do have those closed in rivets in now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close the video now. This is video 2 on the deck. Video 3, I will start covering the hatches that I'm going to be putting on this one. There will be more. If I'm floating out on the river and I just need to reach down there and grab my hat or grab a coat, I don't want to have to lift the whole deck up. I just want to pick up a hatch, have that available to me. So that is coming. That's going to be on a future video, part 3. So I'm happy where I'm at right now. I've got the anchor figured out. I've got my bow light figured out. I've got part of the tent figured out. So the rest of the day I'm going to work cleaning the boat up, cleaning up my shop. It's a mess. Then we'll see. Maybe today I'll start shooting a video on how I'm going to put the tent up on the boat. I've worked most of that out already. I'll show you guys how I'm going to do that. So for now, it's going to be it. I will see you next time down the river.